Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time from the GameFaqs World Championship Extravaganza Powerhouse Elite Show Tournament, currently on GameFaqs, the forum website. It's put on by Bone Carlos, and this is Bracket 1, I think Bracket A actually. It's Morrowind789 versus Buildings. Buildings in your top left corner playing our yellow Zerg, and in the bottom right we have Morrowind under the handle Korozi. I'm going to go with Morrowind just because that one flows off the tip of the tongue, because I've been to Cyrodiil, as you guys have too, I'm sure. Buildings is in Masters. Morrowind I'm not 100% sure on. I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of that UI, just because I'm going to constantly forget who Morrowind is if I'm staring at that wrong name the entire time. Yeah, but Buildings is definitely in Masters. I'm going to assume that Morrowind is in Masters, and if he's not, that's fine. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You can be in whatever league you want to be in, just as long as you're having fun. What else is fun is a supply depot up on the top. We are on Ohana, which is the starting map. I think all of the maps in the first bracket, which is a best of one matchup, is going to be on Ohana. So Ohana is pretty well known. It's one of the newer maps. It's very pretty because of the locale, all the beaches and oceans and whatnot. But you got the barracks on the top ground. He's going to be making a nice little wall off there. The drone is picking at one of the SCVs, just doing a little bit of damage, kind of playing at it, but he's not going to prevent that wall off from being completed or anything like that. That drone is getting in for Buildings just to see that there's no early gas being thrown down, no super early tech coming out of Morrowind. Morrowind has managed to get his SCV up on the high ground, and he spots that not even a pool has gone down. We're at the 16 supply, and that first hatchery is being built on the low ground. So a hatch first build out of Buildings, being ballsy, definitely playing aggressive on the economic side, if not on the straight up units in your base side of things. Ohana kind of favors that. Its naturals are very well protected. You have the destructible debris leading down into the third in the bottom left corner. So 2 base play is a little more favored over a 3 base play, but 3 base play is by no means out of the question, nor is 4 base, because you've got the one in the top right corner and the one on the left. Lots of different places to expand to and take advantage of. The actually common ground is very open, and it really favors some heavy surround play. A lot of money saved up right now for Morrowind, so he's probably thinking about getting an expansion too. That command center is going down. Gas steal from Buildings, probably just to keep his drone alive a couple more seconds, not so much to steal the actual gas, because that first geyser hasn't even been taken. Hatchery is going to finish up. The pool was started a couple of supply afterwards, but it's just now popping. Plenty of money left over for Buildings to build 2 different queens from 2 different hatcheries, getting those injects lined up. The larva injects, when they're lined up like that, the energy accumulates at the same time, so that the larva injects can happen at the same time, meaning that he doesn't have to spend multiple cycles coming back and injecting on different timings. It's one of those tricks that the pros use that it's really helpful, especially as the game goes on, if you can just come back and inject. Wow, constantly switching back with his drone doing that extractor trick. He's losing 7 resources every time he does it, but it's totally worth it to keep your guy alive, and also keep an eye on how many Marines are being produced. You only saw 3. There's 4 out right now, but that one barracks is the only unit producing structure currently on the field, and that lets Building know that he's going to be in a pretty strong position right now. The pool was super late, so we wanted to keep an eye on exactly how many units were going to be out on the field. With the single queen at each expansion, he has to kind of worry about early aggression, maybe even a 2-Rex or a proxy Rex from Morrowind. And with that, with the kind of aggressive scouting, and he's got another Overlord coming on the south side, probably not going to survive. I don't know if there's a safe space down here. Maybe down farther on the south side, but he's also got one in the top right corner, so he'll be able to tell exactly what's going on in the base. 2 gas has been taken by Morrowind, none down at the natural, but 4 gas total for Buildings. So gas heavy play out of Buildings with that aggressive expansion that's to be expected. He's probably going to go for some sort of timing. You can only assume once you get to Masters level, there's so many different options that you can choose from. Factory being built right next to Reactor. We might see Reactor Hellions. It's a little late for that, but that might explain the delayed gas. Reactor Hellions are a great choice on this map, especially with Buildings taking his third expansion in the top right corner. That's going to be very exposed with these destructible debris not going down. The reinforcement from one base to the other is very delayed, having to take the long route around, and Hellions can really take advantage of that. Get in there and destroy a lot of drones, 8 of them on the way right now. And wow, an early lair. Not really early, it's 7-minute mark, but it's a lair. Tech Lab's also down. It'll be working on some sort of upgrade, I can only assume. Nothing being built just yet. That factory's done. It hasn't switched over for the reactor, so it doesn't appear that that factory was placed there to take advantage of the reactor as much as it is just placed there so that it was close to the command center and that you didn't lose a lot of mining time from his SCV. So a Tech Lab going down on that, probably for siege tanks, not so much for Blue Flame Hellions, as it's more helpful to get a couple of those out, and a starport being built immediately afterwards. So a 1-1-1 variation, well, 1 racks fast expand to a 1-1-1 basically. Siege and combat shields both underway now. Third base is completely up for Buildings. His economy is in full swings, 46 over 34, with the minerals pretty much neck and neck. The gas income is really where you see the difference, with all 4 geysers taken and only 3 for Morrowind. So a gas heavy build. Looks like he's going to be spending some of that gas on the banelings, but probably not all of it. With that baneling nest being built at an infestor pit, that makes much more sense. An infestor pit, definitely the next step in the production tier. You need that to get to hive, but also need that to spin down some of that gas. And unless we see a couple of spires being thrown down shortly, I think it will be an infestor ling play, and he's not going to rely too much on those mutas to do harassment. Terran seems to be turtling pretty strongly right now. Suicidal Overlord coming in, sees all, knows all, sees that the starport has gone down. Viking being produced out of it, probably just for its anti-air properties. Pick off a couple of those ballsy Overlord. This one's going to go down from a hail of marine fire, but this Viking will probably pay for itself by taking out 1 or 2 Overlords scattered around the map. Probably going to see a reactor thrown down on that starport, or maybe it'll just take advantage of one of the reactors that's already been made and double out those medevacs to really support this ground-based play. Just pure marines and siege tanks. Those destructible debris are going down in connecting the natural to Buildings third, so he is preparing for some sort of push. He's got the centrifugal pushes coming, centrifugal hooks coming with the pathogen glands mixed in. So those infestors are going to be hitting very shortly, but it looks like he's aware of this push coming. He saw the marine numbers. He probably has seen the Viking poking. No, hasn't taken down an Overlord yet, but 15 banelings on the way will definitely help with this ball of siege tanks and marines. 26 Zerglings, he'll probably have to wait for that. The 1-1 is done for Buildings, 0-0 for the marines, but they do have combat shields. No stem just yet. 2-2 started immediately. Pathogen glands, it looks like he's waiting for the centrifugal hooks. That finishes just whenever this push happens. Wow, perfect surround. Those siege tanks were not sieged at all. He didn't have enough really to do the leapfrog approach, but really overextending himself there. And the banelings Buildings just showing exactly what you need to do. If that was just bide your time, wait for that ramp, wait for them to lose vision, and take him down. I believe he also lost the Viking. Let me see, he's got 1 on the field, but that should be one that was recently built. Yeah, he's back with the main base. I think he lost the Viking to the Queen, and losing that vision can really cost you, because those banelings took him completely by surprise. Couple scouts from either player. It looks like the orbitals being completed in the natural. Maybe Morrowind is thinking about moving down to the bottom left to take his third. It'll be a ballsy trick. Those Zerglings are incredibly fast, and supported with the banelings, they can take down that expansion incredibly quick. And with the upgrade advantage, the 2-2 more than halfway done, and level 1 weapons only now getting started for the marines that are unstemmed, and 5 infestors on the way. I think that Morrowind, if he wants to stay in this, is going to have to rely more on medevac drops to do harassment and keep the Zerg contained. With that 4th expansion going down for Buildings, he's going to be increasingly vulnerable to that sort of tactic. The sort of drops in the backyard, taking out a bunch of drones. The drone count is pretty much sky high, almost 70. Only 1 or 2 waves away from being picture perfect. 9 infestors popping just now, and the 2-2 finishing up. Looks like another push is on the way for Buildings. Buildings still committed to his tank and marine build, I guess. The plethora of tech labs looks like he's going to be expanding over to maybe some marauders. Maybe just wants to double. No, he's got all the upgrades he really needs for marine, stem, and combat shield finish. No tech lab on the factory. Can't really add much to the production value there. It looks like Buildings has this match well in hand. The Infestors and the Zerglings are going to be able to crush anything that comes out of Morrowind's base. With the lack of medevacs on the field, I don't think that there's anything that Morrowind can do to prevent Buildings from getting extra expansions, and then he's just going to constantly macro up and be entirely content to starve Morrowind. Coming down just to double check that that third has not been taken. Maybe you'll think about taking out these rocks, but that would be pretty costly with these siege tanks positioned on the middle ground. Only 3 though. It's not enough to repel a Zergling mass of this size. 1 weapon's just now finishing, but that means the 2-2 is done. Buildings dancing with the Zerglings. I'm so happy that I got to see that. That's funny. Oh man, look at all those Banelings. These Banelings are going to wreck somebody's day. It looks like Morrowind is moving out at just the right time to see them. Is Vikings, if they scout before they push? No, it looks like these are all going to push at the same time. Zerglings coming around in the back, preventing any sort of stutter step, but it doesn't look like Morrowind's going to do that. Really just bypassing all the Marines, taking out all the siege tanks in just one massive explosion. A single Baneling remains with a lot of Zerglings making it into the main, up to one of the only mineral lines that Morrowind has. An excellent Baneling burst right there, just doing quite a lot of damage. You can see all those SCVs are in the red, but with no extra Baneling to do just one more splash damage on those guys. Those Zerglings are going to get targeted down by the supporting Marauders and some of those Marines that had survived the initial push. The wall is completely down. There are 0 siege tanks on the field. 4 medevacs though. So if Morrowind, no, it looks like Morrowind is fed up. He's going to be pushing out with absolutely everything he has. A massive number of SCVs thrown into the mix. But with the plethora of Zerglings on the field and these Infestors that weren't used in that initial push, the Fungals are just going to be absolutely massive. I don't think we need to look at the anything right now to know that Morrowind is going to get absolutely wrecked here. So here goes the massive fungal growths, just absolutely demolishing everything. The number of Zerglings really is pretty small compared to the damage that the Infestors were doing, but those chain fungal growths were absolutely just butchering it. So it looks like Building takes it. Morrowind bows out. That's the first game in the tournament. If you guys have any questions, you could PM me here, Reddit, YouTube, whatever. I am Big and Scary. I will see you guys later. Bye.